All right, enough Liverpool. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, guys.
Manchester City are through to the FA Cup final, beating Nottingham Forest 2-0. Jules, I was not expecting to see Jack Grealish on the pitch and Kevin De Bruyne off the pitch. I've given up on trying to understand what Pep is doing, but it worked in this game.
Yeah, it did work. They started so well. They scored after 2 minutes, then they scored early in the second half as well, and the game was over. I think it was made easier by the fact that Nuno got his game plan completely wrong by leaving Elanga on the bench. And I know they obviously had a very young player right back because of players not available, but still, why is Elanga not starting? Come on, please. It's an FA Cup semi-final. And then it was too late when he came on. Forest were better. They hit the woodwork 3 times in the second half, but the damage was done. And for City, I guess it's even more control to have O'Reilly and Lewis and Kovacic and Silva and Grealish as a 10. I don't think they were that great, but they did enough.
Yeah, I don't like this 4-2-2-2-2 system. I don't think we'll see it when Holland comes back.
Yeah, maybe not.
But also a lot of empty seats.
Just watching on television. The ticket allocation.
I think it was before the quarterfinals, but Jules, you predicted Crystal Palace were going to win the FA Cup, and they beat up Aston Villa 3-0. They're in the final. I bet you feel pretty good right about now.
Well, I mean, they still have to be City now on May 17th. That's when the final will be live on ESPN. But they were outstanding on Saturday. We were at the game with producer Freddie for the coverage, for the TV coverage. It was a wonderful occasion to start with. The Palace fans were great. And you know what you're going to get with Glasner and Palace anyway, the system, how they play, who is the key players. I was super disappointed about Unai Emery and Aston Villa. Emery got the whole plan wrong. Asensio, the wide players, too slow.
No Onana.
The mistakes by Tielemans and Pau Torres at this level for players like them is not acceptable. So just a bad day at the office for Villa and a great day for Palace. The atmosphere was amazing. They have some of the best songs. I thought Adam Wharton was incredible for his age in a game like this, bossing it. Lacroix, Eze, Sarr, Mateta.
It's a great goal celebration. Mateta, despite missing a penalty, I thought was phenomenal.
Phenomenal, yeah, great.
Rasmus Højlund, speaking of United, materialized as an injury time to give Manchester United a share the spoils away to Bournemouth. Jules, better late than never, right?
Yeah.
And are you as angry as Iraola about the Evan Nielsen red card?
I think it's a turning point, to be fair, to go down to 10 men with 20 odd minutes. Well, in the end, it would be 30 minutes to go. For a slip, I know there's a tackle then, but he slips first and foremost. And I don't understand how the referee can give that when clearly there was no intention whatsoever from Evan Nielsen to
VAR give it. The referee initially gave him yellow. VAR asked for it to be upgraded. Is it because intent doesn't really factor into except for handball in the laws of the game?
I know that's the law of the game. I just thought there was maybe a bit of common sense needed in that, just in that instance. But there was another controversial one earlier in the first half. So
Tyler Adams.
Yeah, the Tyler Adams one. So maybe it was kind of making up for that one. I don't know. But yeah, I felt it was a bit harsh. And in the end, Bournemouth were good at times. United were not bad, I thought, in that second half, but it's a draw in the end.
Newcastle United are up to third with a 3-0 win over Ipswich, who become the Premier League's third relegated club. Jules, your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know what to say.
Come on, Eddie Howe Love.
Yeah, he was back from his pneumonia. He was not fully 100%, you could tell. But this was the perfect game to come back. I mean, it was never in that. Even if Ipswich didn't start too badly, they got a red card for Ben Johnson. And after that, it could have been easily more than 3. And it's good for them. Imagine if they finished third or even just top 5. Champions League football plus the League Cup, it would be a wonderful season for them. So well done to Newcastle.
Ipswich strikes me as the kind of team that can come straight back up, though.
Do you think? And they will lose the lap. They might lose a couple more.
They lose the lap, but they'll get a bunch of million for him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's see. Nico Jackson scores his first goal of 2025. That's right. We're almost in May. And Chelsea down Everton 1-0 at Stamford Bridge. Gab, they're back in 5th place, although Forest have a game in hand.
So the last time they played Everton, after that game, they were second. They were 4 points behind Liverpool with a game in hand. Now I think they're 22 points behind Liverpool, who do not have a game in hand. And I think this coincides with the fact that in that time period, Nico Jackson scored as many goals for Chelsea as you did, which is 0. Cole Palmer in that period scored 3 goals, but they all came at the beginning. When you have a team that is so predicated on Cole Palmer and Nico Jackson scoring a goal, and they don't score, then you're going to run into trouble. Like it's not... Jules, it's not rocket science.
No, absolutely. But it's the job of the manager to find a solution, right? And he's struggling.
What solution is going to find? The Mark Gay solution?
No,
like,
no.
what? I honestly, this
I
is.
think Buyu is still injured, by the way.
Sorry?
I don't think. I think he's still injured, so it can't be him. But yeah, no, you're right.
What, the Joao Felix solution?
No.
I mean, I honestly, Chelsea need to go back and look at these guys, the two nerds, the director of football. And I would love to know, did you guys make these decisions? What was your plan? Were there other factors in play? Because in football, there often are. Because it's not acceptable to leave your team, leave your coach with such a badly put together squad. And Chelsea paid the price.
Yeah. More Chelsea and historical sliding doors, Gab. The Times reports that Manchester United were ready to sign Eden Hazard back in 2012, but chose not to because his agent demanded a €6 million commission. So they signed Shinji Kagawa instead.
Yeah, it's not just a €6 million commission, it's just a €6 million commission off the books.
Off the
Now,
books. Yeah.
some background to this, and then we're going to have some fun sliding doors moments about how the entire history of Manchester United could have been different. But all of this, by the way, it's not people being mean to Chelsea. Chelsea self-reported when they did due diligence, when Bowley and Clearlake took over the club. They looked at all the books and said, hang on a minute, what's this? And they went and they reported themselves to the Premier League and to, well, not them because they weren't in charge at the time, said maybe this stuff that wasn't quite kosher. So obviously they were fined by UEFA as a result. The Premier League, because everything with the Premier League is interminable because there's a bazillion lawyers they have to pay first. I don't think they've expressed themselves yet on how they're going to deal with it. I would assume it'll simply be a fine. But what this shows was, so John Biko was the agent of Eden Hazard at the time when Eden Hazard was at Lille. I think it's Jimmy Ryan is his name, the legendary United scout, had been like following Hazard since he was like 10 years old or something. And they were all set to bring him to Manchester United. They were going to go, they worked out the agreement with Lille. And then at the last minute, and they'd agreed personal terms, at the last minute, this guy, John Biko, who I actually met many years ago.
Yeah, me too.
And he's actually very soft-spoken. I don't know if you had the same expression.
Yeah.
I checked the guy who's
really
like shouting,
elegant.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He comes in and he says, guys, €1 million commission, which we'll put through the books, and then you need to go and pay the rest offshore. This is according to the Times reporting, basically under the table to me. Otherwise, this deal is dead. United said no. According to Chelsea's account, we don't know what Chelsea said, but Chelsea's accounts show that a company linked to Roman Abramovich paid €7 million via a company in Dubai. Now, the fun thing is, Biko went to live in the United Arab Emirates. He's been extradited for unrelated charges, which he's now facing. But the amazing thing is, Biko, after this whole Hazard stuff, he became owner, president, and coach of White Star Brussels, who actually won the Belgian second division, but they didn't get a license to play in the top flight because of financial irregularities. There's a shock. Yeah. But let me just ask you this. This is the sliding doors parallel world.
What happens if Hazard goes to United?
If Hazard goes to United instead of Kagawa, by the way, it's not a knock on Shinji Kagawa. I love Shinji Kagawa, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, good little player.
But
it's not
Eden Hazard.
Yeah, come on.
Like, how does the history of the Premier League change? Does David Moyes go on to win a bunch of Premier League titles?
Yeah, Van Persie and Hazard and absolutely. And Rooney probably still then. Oh my God, I would have loved to see that. Is the food as good in Manchester than it is in London, though? In terms of restaurants? Yeah, you can. Okay.
With all that money, in fact, with all the money Biko gets, Hazard could just be like, Biko, get takeaway from my favorite restaurants in London.
Driven up.
Put on the back of a bike and bring it up.
Wolves beat Leicester City 3-0 to move above Manchester United in the table. Gab, you wanted an excuse to talk about Vitor Pereira, really?
Because he's really, really good. And look, this is a guy, he's been around the world. He's managed, he's Portuguese, but he's managed Al Ahly. He's managed in Brazil.
He's got one of those Brazilian
Olympiacos.
CVs that you love. He's got like 20 different clubs where he stayed just one season, 18 months. Okay.
They were 19th. They were second bottom when they took over from your buddy, Gary O'Neill, the notorious golf fan.
Yeah.
They had 9 points from 16 games. Since then, 32 points from 18 games. That pace, that is a Champions League.
6 wins in a row. Incredible.
That is a Champions League clip.
Yeah.
Not just that, but he got Jorgen Strand Larsen to all of a sudden the guy scores 1 million goals.
Yeah.
Mateus Cunha, again, maybe he would have been great anyway. I don't think anybody a year ago was talking about Mateus Cunha, 60 million, Manchester United. No. Mateus Cunha has flourished under him. They play really good football. They're above United in the table, as I mentioned. He's done a really, really good job. And sometimes You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes if you're smart, if you have a well-run club, you can find the right coach, right amount of experience, right man management, right tactical knowledge, and you can get a lot out of it. Well done, Vitor Pereira.